March 2, 2026, 0300 Zulu. 3 B-1B Lancers punched afterburners out of Ellsworth, 120,000 pounds of thrust per jet, 75,000 pounds of precision ordnance loaded across 3 internal bays. That's 225,000 pounds of guided destruction, bound for Iranian missile complexes 7,000 miles away. More payload than an entire fighter squadron. They flew 30 hours non-stop, refueling in darkness over the Atlantic. They crossed into hostile airspace and systematically shredded hardened launch silos, underground bunkers and production facilities Iran spent decades burying. By dawn, smoking craters. How did a Cold War airframe become the deadliest conventional weapon ever unleashed against a nation's missile arsenal? February 28, Operation Epic Fury detonates into motion. Iran's air defense grid, wired, layered, and on full alert, takes the first hit. Over 900 targets were erased in 12 hours. Supreme Leader Khamenei is dead before noon. March 2nd, 0300 Zulu. 3 B-1B Lancers ignite Ellsworth's runway, engines screaming, each jet packing more firepower than an entire squadron of fighters. Their payload is 75,000 pounds of guided bombs, cruise missiles, and standoff munitions per aircraft. A 30-hour round trip with no landings and no hesitation, refueled in darkness by KC-135s stretched across the Atlantic. By dawn, Iranian missile complexes are reduced to smoking craters. March 6th, RAF Fairford, United Kingdom. A new wave, B-1Bs and B-52Hs land, bomb bays loaded, crews cycling for rapid redeployment. March 9th, the ramp at Fairford is packed, with 8 B-1Bs, 3 B-52s, tankers, and fighters, all primed for the next phase. 4 dates, 4 sledgehammer blows. The campaign runs on the clock, and every tick is another wave of destruction. The B-1B Lancer was not born for the wars of 2026. Its roots reach back to Cold War arms races and nuclear standoffs, but every bolt and circuit has been reworked for the age of precision annihilation. By the early 1990s, the B-1B shed its nuclear claws, rebuilt as the ultimate conventional strike platform. Rotary launchers replaced gravity bomb racks. 3 cavernous bays, each one ready to swallow up to 24 GPS-guided JDAMs or JASSM-ER cruise missiles. In the 2000s, the bomber's arsenal exploded. AGM-158 JSSM became standard, bringing standoff kills at 575 miles. Cluster munitions, quick-strike mines, GBU-54, laser JDAMs, every new weapon certified, every loadout tested for maximum devastation. The 2010s brought a new wave of upgrades. Digital cockpits, advanced synthetic aperture radar for mapping and targeting, and the ANALQ-161 electronic warfare suite. This system scans, jams, and blinds enemy radars across the spectrum, letting the B-1B punch through defended airspace at high subsonic speed, hugging terrain at just 200 feet. 4 General Electric F-101 engines pour out 120,000 pounds of thrust, pushing the swing wings to Mach 1.2. Refueling booms keep the Lancer airborne for 30 hours, crossing oceans without pause. By 2026, no other bomber on Earth could match its payload, reach, or raw destructive mass. This is how 3 jets deliver more firepower in a single wave than a dozen fighter squadrons combined. 3 B-1Bs launch from Ellsworth, South Dakota, and the mission is pure muscle. The flight path slices east across the Midwest, punches out over the Atlantic, and runs the gauntlet on fuel. KC-135 Stratotankers and KC-46 Pegasus tankers form a moving pipeline in the sky, over the middle of the Atlantic, then again over southern Europe, each rendezvous timed to the minute. The bombers gulp fuel from the booms, engines burning through reserves at high subsonic speed, never slowing, never landing. Every refueling is a lifeline, a few minutes on the boom, then right back into the slipstream, wings swept for range, tanks topped off, radar screens alive with threat data. The distance from Ellsworth to Iranian airspace is over 6,500 miles each way, but the B-1B's endurance is engineered for this. 30 hours airborne, crew locked in, eyes fixed on navigation, weapons, and electronic warfare consoles. The cockpit is a four-man fortress. Aircraft commander, pilot, offensive systems officer, defensive systems officer, each one rotating through fatigue, adrenaline, and the constant thrum of the engines. The tankers keep the bombers in the fight, no matter the hour, no matter the weather. Every mile closed is another step toward the target grid. This is global strike, unbroken and relentless, powered by aircrew stamina and a refueling chain that stretches from the Dakotas to the edge of combat. 4 General Electric F-101 engines ignite with a combined 120,000 pounds of thrust. No fighter, no bomber in the American arsenal moves more mass, farther, with greater speed. The B-1B's variable geometry wings stretch to 137 feet for takeoff and climb, then sweep back to 79 feet, blades slicing the air at over 900 miles per hour, Mach 1.2 at altitude. This is not a relic. It is a brute force machine, engineered for high speed, low-level penetration. Each wing sweep setting is chosen for a reason: forward for lift, swept for high subsonic cruise, locked for a supersonic dash when the target grid demands it. Range is not a constraint, it is a weapon. Unrefueled, the B-1B covers more than 7,400 miles. With tankers, there is no limit. Fuel tanks hold over 265,000 pounds, enough to cross continents, oceans, and hostile airspace in a single relentless push. That is 30 hours in the sky, engines roaring, payload bays loaded to the rails. The cockpit is a fortress of 4: aircraft commander, pilot, offensive systems officer, defensive systems officer. Each crew member is locked in, managing flight, weapons, threat detection, and electronic warfare. The bomber is flown, fought, and defended as a team, never letting up. Terrain-following radar in the nose scans every rise and dip, letting the Lancer skim just 200 feet above the ground at nearly Mach 0.92. Hills, valleys, and radar fences are nothing but terrain to be conquered at speed. The AN/APQ-164 radar system maps the Earth in real time, guiding the bomber through the deadliest airspace on the planet. No missile site, no command bunker, no mobile launcher is safe. The B-1B is built to survive, to strike, to return, and to do it again, without pause, without mercy. This is power projected at intercontinental scale, precision delivered at the speed of war. Survival at 200 feet, that's the B-1B's answer to radar grids and missile fences. The terrain-following radar in the nose sweeps the Earth in real time, locking the jet to the contours of the ground. Hills, ridges, riverbeds, every rise and fall is mapped, and every dip becomes a shield. At just 200 feet above the dirt, the Lancer moves too low and too fast for most enemy radars to keep a lock, especially when the sky is thick with jamming. Inside the cockpit, the defensive systems officer rides the edge. The ANALQ-161 electronic warfare suite never sleeps. Its threat library is loaded with the signatures of every surface-to-air missile, every search radar, every fire control beam Iran can throw. The moment a hostile emitter lights up, the system reacts. Jamming is automatic, blanketing enemy radars with digital noise, shifting frequencies, and breaking locks before a missile can even leave the rail. Chaff and flares are ready, but most threats never get that far. The ANALQ-161 doesn't just jam, it deceives, tricks, and blinds, feeding false returns and phantom images back to the enemy's screens. The Lancer becomes a ghost, slipping through the gaps in the network. Targeting is pure precision. Synthetic aperture radar maps every bunker, every silo, every underground entrance in all weather, day or night. GPS integration locks the coordinates, feeding them straight to the weapons officer's console. The crew is 4: aircraft commander, pilot, offensive systems officer, and defensive systems officer. Each one is critical, and each is locked into a role. The aircraft commander calls the shots. The pilot keeps the jet glued to the ground. The offensive systems officer hunts targets, and the defensive systems officer keeps the threat map alive, jamming and spoofing as the Lancer knifes through hostile airspace. This is not stealth by shape, it's stealth by speed, by altitude, by spectrum denial. The B-1B doesn't hide, it dares the enemy to find it, and then erases the threat before it has a chance to fire. Survivability isn't just armor or luck, it's a moving wall of radar, jamming and terrain, all fused into one mission: penetrate, strike, destroy, and return. The system is complete. The next move is weapons release. 3 bomb bays, 75,000 pounds of hell per jet. Every inch of the B-1B's internal space is crammed with destruction. The loadout is pure, engineered violence. Up to 24 GBU-31 2,000-pound JDAMs for deep-buried bunkers, or the same number of AGM-158 JSM-ER missiles. Each JSM-ER is a stealthy cruise weapon that can obliterate a missile silo from 575 miles out. Rotary launchers snap into action, cycling weapon after weapon with mechanical precision. GBU-38s and GBU-54s add flexibility, 15 to 24 per bay. The GBU-54 brings laser guidance for moving targets and hardened launchers. Cluster munitions are an option. 30 CBU-103s, each scattering 10 submunitions, designed to erase mobile launchers, radars, and surface-to-air missile batteries in one sweep. For area denial and port strikes, the B-1B can take on up to 84 MX-62 quick-strike naval mines, or swap in the same number of 500-pound Make-82 bombs for mass destruction. Every weapon is certified, every configuration tested for maximum effect. There are no external pylons, nothing to slow the jet down, nothing to give it away. This is internal, all-weather, all-mission lethality. A single B-1B carries more guided firepower than an entire squadron of F-15Es or F-35s. 3 B-1Bs launching in formation unleash 225,000 pounds of precision ordnance in a single wave. The weapons crews at Ellsworth and Fairford work around the clock, loading, arming, cycling munitions bay by bay, each load calculated for the next strike package. There is no pause, no shortage, no mercy. Just raw, relentless firepower, tailored for systematic destruction. Precision is not a marketing slogan, it is the math of annihilation. When the B-1B unleashes, every weapon is counted in tons, every strike measured in meters. The GBU-31 JDAM, 2,000 pounds of steel and explosive, steered by GPS, hits with a circular error probable under 10 meters. Drop 24 of them in a single run, and the result is not a pattern of craters, but a grid of obliteration. JSM-ER cruise missiles, each with a 1,000-pound warhead, slip past defenses from 575 miles out, programmed to hunt bunkers and silos with pinpoint accuracy. Cluster munitions saturate launch fields, their sub-munitions programmed to erase anything that rolls or radiates. Quick strike mines turn ports and staging areas into dead zones, denying escape or reinforcement. This is not about single bombs or isolated hits. 3 B-1Bs, doors open, bring 225,000 pounds of precision-guided destruction in one synchronized wave. Each aircraft carries more guided firepower than a dozen fighter jets combined. The effect is not random shock. It is systematic erasure. Missile factories, command bunkers, fuel depots, radar arrays. Each target is mapped, assigned, and vaporized in sequence. There is no time for Iranian crews to react, no window to relocate, no sanctuary left underground. The margin for error is measured in feet, the scale of damage in city blocks. This is the difference between attrition and extinction, destruction delivered with the certainty of arithmetic, the weight of 250,000 pounds dropped with surgical intent. The battlefield is not just struck, it is rewritten. Iran's air defenses don't just vanish, they get shredded, layer by layer, until nothing stands between the bombers and their targets. The opening blows come fast and surgical. B-2 Spirits and Tomahawk missiles rip holes in radar networks and missile batteries across Iran. Command bunkers lose their eyes and ears. Surface-to-air launchers go silent, their crews blinded by jamming and precision strikes. In the aftermath, CENTCOM releases declassified footage. B-1Bs roaring off Ellsworth's tarmac, afterburners blazing, mission briefings stamped with the Joint Chiefs seal. General Dan Kane steps to the podium and spells it out. Local air superiority is not a theory, it's a fact. The airspace is permissive. Enemy interceptors are grounded, air defense grids are crippled, and the sky belongs to the bombers. Every strike is documented, every launch logged. The target list is not random, it's systematic, calculated, and relentless. Suppression is not a phase, it's a permanent condition, engineered so the B-1B can enter, unload, and erase what took Iran decades to build, all under the watchful eye of CENTCOM and the authority of the Joint Chiefs. Missile production plants, once shielded by concrete and buried under mountains, are split open by 2,000-pound JDAMs. Hardened silos, designed to survive nuclear blasts, are cracked, their launch doors torn away by direct hits from Jessamine cruise missiles. Command bunkers, mapped by synthetic aperture radar, collapse under the weight of precision-guided bombs, their reinforced walls no match for the focused violence delivered from 30,000 feet. Fuel depots erupt in fireballs, feeding secondary detonations that ripple through staging areas and supply tunnels. Radar sites, fixed and mobile, are erased by cluster munitions, each submunition programmed to hunt emitters and leave nothing but scorched earth. Tunnel entrances, once invisible, are sealed shut by laser-guided bombs, trapping weapons and crews underground. Every strike is calculated, every target selected for maximum effect. Iran's missile infrastructure, decades in the making, is reduced to a catalog of ruins. What survives above ground is useless, and what hides below is buried alive. The B-1B payload is not just mass, it is the final word in destruction, delivered with the certainty of arithmetic. Mass is not just a number, it's the logic of dominance. When 8 B-1Bs line up on the ramp at Fairford, the message is clear: no pause, no sanctuary, no escape. Each jet is a flying arsenal, loaded to the rails with precision-guided bombs and cruise missiles, ready to erase targets in sequence. The tempo is relentless. Sorties launch in waves, crews cycling through briefings, refueling, and rearmament without rest. The base becomes a machine, munitions loaded, fuel lines pumping, flight plans filed and executed with clockwork precision. Rapid redeployment turns every hour into another strike window, every runway into a launch pad for destruction. This is how air power becomes unstoppable. Massed bombers, sustained tempo, and the ability to hit hundreds of targets before the enemy can even react. Forward basing at Fairford closes the distance, doubling the sortie rate, compounding the pressure. The B-1B force does not wait for opportunity, it creates it. Overwhelming defenses with volume, speed, and the certainty of annihilation. Iranian missile sites are not just attacked, they are erased from the map, methodically, wave after wave, until nothing remains. Power is measured in payload, not promises. Right now, the B-1B Lancer stalks the globe, 75,000 pounds of steel and fire per jet, unmatched by any fighter squadron on Earth. As missile threats evolve, only relentless mass, speed, and precision keep the enemy underground. Deterrence is spelled in tons, and the Lancer delivers. Drop your take in the comments.